All right, everyone, we are here with our second rematch of the season, and this time to ASR. I will vent about that later, but for now, I'm taking in Mr. Negative Killmonger, and I'm attempting something sketchy with Rogue. I will be taking it Path 7 in Section 1, only half of it, and then Path 1 in Section 2. I've got too many bosses on Boss Island, and I have a Modoc for boss duty today. So this first path, we had someone take Human Torch with Cosmic Ghost Rider because it's just a joke of a fight with boosts and cosmic boosts. But I was really needed here for the Manthing on Vivified with Mr. Negative. In case you guys are not aware, Petrify still works against Vivified and reverses passive power gain abilities. So Man-Thing doesn't really have any of that, but if we happen to trigger MD, which we don't with Mr. Negative, it would work here in reversing it. So really the main benefit here is just not having to deal with MD at all, only the combat rate. And when I actually evade counter, I get that Delirium, which actually allows me to reduce his combat rate. So there's a little bit of a slow play there, or a little bit of a help with slowing down that, but this is very similar to all my other Mr. Negative fights where we start off with parry heavy, build to enough dark energy to drop SP2 and then just let them melt. So you can see how that's going right here. Yeah, it's just fewer heavies, parry heavies before converting the first set, and it's super smooth, super easy. And then moving on into the grand finale. I took all these fights the next morning. Man-Thing was the night before. So game plan with Rogue was for Node 51 Maw later, and somewhat concerned with the fight before going in, but the logic was there with power drain on her SP2 and SP3, and the fact that she doesn't place any debuffs. And what I was going to see here with this white Magneto fight was if the power back boosts and boosted with her SP2 ability, and my Rogue is Sig 80, would be enough to constantly put me at SP2, to the point where it's kind of like playing her like Magic and pinning them against the wall. And I'm not going to do that here. And just doing backdrafts and throwing SP2s. So here you see I almost get pushed to SP3, and in my mind I went, okay, so we almost get pushed, we get pushed well over SP2 this entire fight. Possibly with Maw's reduced passive ability power gain when he's focusing, that's when the red eye is showing. We might fall short of SP2, maybe, not sure. But it gave me a little more confidence taking this fight and seeing how much I was getting in return, that would possibly be doable. So because of that, and I'll talk about it more with Maw, it means I kind of opted for my safe route, which is what I did here a little bit. And that's where I don't actually just constantly bully them against the wall and backdraft and throw SP2. I play it a little bit more casually. Anyways, for now, Buffet, Mr. Negative. This is an easy fight. As long as Mr. Negative can take the champion on Buffet, then it's very similar to any other Mystic problem you would find here. Just like Power Snack, just like anything. It's parry heavy 3 times before you convert your first set of light to dark. And then while you're at 9, evade counter, bank that light energy as dark energy, build a little bit more in preparation for SP2 so that you're over the 10 count, and there's our evade counter. And then in the evade counter motion, go ahead and drop SP2. So here it is, throw in that, boom, and then just let them die from the dot damage. So super smooth fight, super easy fight. I mean, Mr. Negative very much still an option, and I have a rank 4, so they just go down super quick. And now we're on to the big part. Now, if you guys have seen me fight in war in the past, seen any of my other videos, I usually have a pretty good game plan when I go into fights. And I have a good backup plan, especially playing Mr. Negative. I'm like, if this doesn't work, I need to be able to do this so that I don't lose this fight. And I have to admit, I did not do that with Rogue. I'm not a rogue expert. I have her at rank 3. I play around with her, but it's been a while since I've had to treat rogue like magic or even use magic like magic where you backdraft intercept against the wall. So I planned on playing this safe. I was going to alternate between medium, light, and heavy, and using the heavy opportunity to cause him to lose focus so that I did not have to deal with miss. And at the start of this, it looks like it's going pretty smooth. I mean, I did use a combat regen, but the health battle looks like I'm doing well enough that I'm probably going to solo this fight. Now I'm probably going to get into assassin range, so it might get a little sketchy, but it looks like it's going well. But what I find out here is that the power gain, the returns with the boosts and her SB2, it's not enough. And this should have been my cue to do a second option that I only kind of thought about and figured out after the fact. So as soon as I saw the return on there, if Rogue was going to work here, I would have had to let Maw get focused so that my power gain isn't affected on the SB2, and I should have been backdrafting him against the wall with SB2. And at least I would have had that whole window before Black Tongue, where my power rate or my power gains from returns from SB2 wouldn't have been affected. Now, yes, I would have had to play around Falter, and unfortunately there's a bug here. Falter isn't reduced by 70% like it's supposed to be with Rogue's abilities. I couldn't find anything. I reported it. It's possibly a bug. We'll see. So yes, there is a downside that I'm not going to be able to shorten that 3-second window of Falter. And see here, I'm still kind of winning it, but now because he turtled earlier and wouldn't throw it, now I'm pinned against the wall. And this is where I realize I should have, or that the game plan was just not going to work. Like if I had continued down the safe path that I was going down, my cautious gameplay was going to get me screwed, and I didn't change it soon enough, or when I realized it. But if there's a chance she works here, possibly higher Sig, it's while Maw is actually focused, the green eye, and then just backdrafting him against the wall with SB2s. And unfortunately, that death hurt. Didn't hurt as much as the Mangog fight earlier this season, or mostly because this was a test. We couldn't work in our usual counter for Maw here when Apocalypse is banned. So I was kind of stretched to see if this would work. And I'm down for it. Let's try it. And you can see here, because he was low on health, I went ahead and stuck with the same game plan I had. Decided just not to risk anything, and just knowing that this would be enough to get him down and not lose any more attack bonuses, I just went ahead and played it the same safe way. But yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself because usually I do a better job of having a backup plan if things look like it's not going to work out. Because I knew about that power reduction ability going into this fight, and then just didn't think about a backup plan. We shake that one off. We still got 2 fights left, and one of them is a boss, so I kind of need to focus. Chavez here, we have Mr. Fantastic pre-fights, but she doesn't really have a passive power gain outside of her SB after using her SB1. And if she doesn't have any dimensional rifts open, I believe she doesn't actually gain power from it. So as long as we don't have her use a heavy attack, which there's a chance she likes her heavy, probably more than Doom, then this should be a pretty normal Mr. Negative fight. 3 parry heavies, convert right here. I'm going to bait this SB1 because I don't want her to get pushed to SB2. And of course I messed the timing up there, but it's not a big deal. It's just 1 hit. And then here we are ready for SB2. She's got no energy, so I don't block bait anything. And we drop it. And we just let her melt. She wants to be passive, that's fine. We're going to parry heavy her. We're still going to bait out some special attacks. She threw that one right away, and we got the timing, and then boom, down she went. So super safe fight. I'm kind of looking forward to high ground not being the global, so that we can toy around with some more mystics there safely. And then the boss fight, Modoc. You guys know I enjoy this fight. It's super satisfying. I have a pretty good game plan for this, and I'm very confident in it. So even after that Maw disaster, it was time to focus up and get this job done. Push him to SB1 as we're building our SB1 using heavy attacks for openings, and we got a few more intercepts this time, so he was less aggressive into my block this second time around. Throwing short combos so that auto block doesn't screw us. There's the SB1, there's our true strike. Now we get to throw our SB1s for unstoppable counterpunch charges, and now we're using them to push him to SB1, baiting his SB1, retaliating, rinse and repeat. And I actually have max deep wounds for this fight, so I had to take Resonate off, which I usually run, so that I didn't give Maw extra power in that fight with Rogue. And it just made more sense to keep the points out of Inequity and Resonate and go ahead and put them in deep wounds and Assassin. So we're actually maxed in Assassin as well. And you can see here, fight's going really smooth, doing great. There is a point on one of the SB1s where my kid runs toward me and I hear the footsteps and I know he's about to say something, so I'm yelling, busy, busy, busy. And then I eat an SB1. I think it's right here. Nope, it's probably the next one. And it actually does quite a bit of damage. Now that I'm looking at Killmonger's health bar now, because I didn't go back and rewatch this video until now, I lose a considerable amount of health from his SB1. So we're going to see if it crits. I think it's right here. Nope. It's probably the next one then. I know, you're on the edge of your seat trying to figure out when it's going to happen. Yeah, it's got to be this one. Plop! Oh, wait, no, there's one more. That one was bad, but there was a counterpunch charge. So we actually, there it is. Look at that beautiful shining beam from his forehead. Anyways, after that, it was hardcore focused, not messing up. But yeah, I was happy that after not having any Modok bosses, we had 2 in a row right near the end. So it's kind of like a sweet way to end the season outside of that Maw fight. And he's almost done, and he's going to go down right here. Boom. So, soloed the boss. Now, our BG did not do very well this war. We lost to theirs 3-1, but both alliances were really trying hard to throw this war, and we actually lost it. ASR, it was 8 ASR, 6 us, and we had ASR finish their fights, and we died 3 times, that one being, Maw one being one of them. But there were 2 more in another BG, so even if I hadn't died to Maw, we would have lost on time if you're looking at this. So, unfortunate. We're hoping to knock them out of Masters and keep top 10, but didn't go well. So yeah, but there is something I kind of want to rant about. I mentioned in matchmaking earlier, so let's go ahead and get into that. And what I want to rant about is these are the current standings for 4 through 10. Okay, so 1 was GT40, 2 was Kenobi, and K9 was 3rd. And then these are the other 7. And the reason I want you to see this is we're going to go ahead and take a look at the war ratings. If you look at the war ratings, the top 10 doesn't include most of the top 10 that was showing back there. I think there are like 4. But if you go further down to almost 20, even as far down as 30, some of the top 10 are there. And you can go back and forth between this. We'll go ahead and flip back once we get to 30 here and look back at that top 10. But the rant I want to make, and is super frustrating to me, and has only happened while I've been in New Nation, but has been consistent, is that if the war rating or the war matchmaking algorithm feels the need to make 3 alliances rematch each other in a season, then the algorithm should at least decide that these top 10 alliances should play us at least once. And we played Deadly Savage Squad, so yeah, like I can understand them being up there. We played Kenobi twice, yeah, I can understand them being up there. GT40 we played once as well. I can completely understand that they got up there. But why have rematches when there are clearly enough alliances to face? And it's just super frustrating that you have top-rated war alliances just offing each other while you know, some of these alliances probably get a lot better matchups, a lot easier matchups. Maybe they ended up with a Plat 1 alliance. Maybe they ended up with a Plat 2 alliance. You know, it's makes you go, huh? And it's probably one of the more frustrating things about this game that I've ever experienced. I don't get frustrated with bugs. I don't get frustrated with other stuff. You guys haven't heard me complain. I've mainly focused on war, this, that, and the other. But this is pretty annoying. I would have loved to have had the opportunity, instead of replaying ASR Kenobi, to see if any of these alliances, you know, deserve to be rated above us. And find out if they're actually better than us. But no, this isn't just this season. As I said before, it's happened pretty much every season I've been in New Nation, except short seasons due to bugs. So the 6 war season we had and the 9 war season we had. But we at least have 1 or 2 rematches a season. One season we even had 3. And I'm not saying we deserve to be up here. Our performance this season was pretty bad. And we deserve to lose this last war to ASR. But still, this kind of hurts, in my opinion, the integrity of the top 10. But that's the end of my rant. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go ahead and hit subscribe, like, follow, share, and I will catch you guys at the end of season reward video.